Welcome to the CDRB Show, the podcast where we get to know great people with great stories to tell. I'm Christian Rodriguez and I have one mission, bringing the best guests to talk about their lives, careers, and get something of value from each story they tell. In every section we cover different topics, always trying to keep it real and relaxed. There are many surprises and things we can find out in this show, but only one thing's for sure. We're here to have a good time. So relax and enjoy another episode of the CDRB Show. Hello everyone and welcome to a new episode of the CDRB Show. My name is Christian Rodriguez and I'm happy to be here another week. I wanted to start this episode by apologizing. I know that I started this project and it has been taking me a little bit long to post episodes because I am still dealing with issues in my mind of how I want this to work out. And I also had some technical issues that I really just want to forget about for now. It's not very serious, but I just want to forget about that because it has been making me anxious in these days. But I just wanted to give this previous small talk before the actual episode. This episode will be an interview. This is one of the two interviews that I did last year, and it's a big guest. So I just wanted to let you know beforehand that if you notice something like my English not Englishing or something like that, that this interview is from 1 year ago. I didn't have maybe the practice, or I was a lot more nervous. It was a big guest and I just didn't feel comfortable maybe, but I wanted to upload this anyways because I think it's a good interview anyways, even with the small errors that it may have. So I hope you enjoy it, and I just wanted to let you know that beforehand. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed this interview. This week's guest is someone that has worked for Disney, for Club Penguin. And if you don't know what Club Penguin is, you maybe didn't have a good childhood because this is a great game. At least for me, it was a great game, and I see that it is a game that is very well known even today after almost a decade that it has been shut down. So this guest of the week is Chris Hendricks. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you. Good. And thank you for accepting this conversation. We will learn a lot about you and your career.
Yeah, great to be on the show. Thank you.
Yes, and to start with, I want to tell everyone that Chris Hendricks, I found him because of his YouTube channel. He has over 58,000 subscribers as of right now, and he has a lot of great videos. He shows how his work has been done in several areas, not just Club Penguin, because I have seen you have work from other games, and the music composition you do as well, because you have work on that. Yes. And I think that's really interesting, and you can follow him on his YouTube channel as well, because he uploads a lot of videos that are interesting to watch, not only because maybe you played Club Penguin once or any of the games that he has been part of, but because of, well, at least in my perspective, I like to see the behind the scenes of everything, and you have showed the behind the scenes of all these video games.
Yeah. One of the things that really influenced me growing up was movies when they would release on DVD and they'd have all the bonus features of how this was made. You don't get that as much with video games, and nowadays you don't even get that as much with DVDs because everyone watches their movies more often on streaming and things like that. Yeah. But it's fun to give a behind the scenes look of at least my perspective of how certain things in video games were made.
Yes, and we will learn a lot about all this during this episode. But first, I always like to start these conversations by getting to know more the person behind all the things that they have done, you know? So I like to talk about your background and maybe
Sure.
your hobbies and your studies. And the first thing that I would like to know is where were you born?
So I was born basically where Club Penguin was made. It is Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. I have lived here since forever. Um, and yeah, this is my home. This is where I went to school and grew up, and I've never lived anywhere else. It is
Oh,
beautiful. A lot of people come here from other parts of Canada and the world for vacation reasons in both summer and winter. There's a lot of skiing and vineyards and things. It's not a typical Canadian climate here. It's a lot drier, so it sort of has a unique quality to it.
yeah. And is it cold? Because Canada has very well known weather, you know?
We have a reputation for that. It is by Canadian standards not crazy cold in the winter, but still gets cold. We will have a week or two where we'll hit in the evenings temperatures of -20, -25 Celsius,
Oh,
which
wow.
Fahrenheit, that's -15-ish, -10. But in the summertime, we have a pretty wide swing of temperatures where we'll have days like just like we had this year that were more than 40 degrees Celsius, 41, 42. We had a high of 45 a few 3 years ago. We have pretty major drought conditions
Oh, wow.
through a lot of the summer, and actually forest fires are one of the major issues that have popped up in the last couple of decades. So it goes like pretty wild swings from winter to summer here.
Yeah, I think I'm experienced with that as well. Not here in Honduras, where I'm based now, but where I studied. I studied back in Arkansas, in a
Okay,
U.S. state,
sure. Yep.
and there we had like temperatures of -20 as well during the
Hmm.
winters. But during the months of maybe June, July, you can get up to 40, 45 Celsius. So,
For sure. Which would have been worse there because we don't have as much humidity as they do in the American South, or
yeah.
I'm sure Caribbean temperatures there. You have a lot of humidity in the air there as well. So yeah, it's drier here.
Yeah, and at least here in the part I live now, which is the capital of
Okay.
Honduras, we
Yep.
don't get a lot of humidity, but in the northern coast or something like that, it's kind
Sure.
of similar to the weather that I used to have back in Arkansas, you know, but
That makes
that's
sense.
interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that even though, well, for me and for a lot of people, when we think about the Canadian weather, we think that it's almost cold most of the time, you know?
Oh, it's what we're known for, right? People joke about us like living in igloos all the time, right? Which, no one does. But like if you think of something like Nevada or Arizona with like Grand Canyon and Death Valley and things like that, Kelowna is on the north end of the same desert system that extends to all of that. So yeah, it's
Yeah, and
that.
it basically inspired Club Penguin, the weather of
Oh, for
Canada.
sure. Absolutely. A lot of Canada inspired Club Penguin, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
And
a place that's too cold all of the time, and everyone is encouraged to be polite to one another. It's Canada. So,
before we started the conversation, you were saying to me that you went to have a walk with your dogs, and
yes.
this is I say this because I want to know what do you do on your spare time, like what are your hobbies or what things are you passionate about?
I mean, there's reading. There is, I do sometimes some art, chalk pastel art, some non digital art sometimes. I like to try and make sure that I'm keeping up some of those. Big fan of board games, card games, any kind of games. I enjoy that a lot. Um, Walking when I can, but I don't have an abundance of free time, I would say either. Uh, yeah, it's get things in when I can, but yeah. pretty much that.
Yeah, and you mentioned before that all your life you have lived in the same place, right?
Yeah.
And what did you study?
So after high school, well, when I was in high school, I just assumed like, oh, animation could be a job. Pixar had just come out with Toy Story, right?
Yeah.
1995. I'm 13. I see this like, what is this? And so I assumed like, oh, I'm gonna go to Pixar someday. I'm gonna be a Disney animator kind of thing. And so I went to school for animation, which is where I learned about Flash animation because Flash was a much more approachable animation style to be taught at the schools at the time. And while I was learning Flash animation, I was told by one of the teachers, "Hey, in Kelowna there is this Flash web game developer doing video games there." I was like, oh, right. I guess Flash has a primitive programming language in it, too. I should probably learn about this guy. Oh, Rocket Snail? That's a funny name. And so I made this little Flash animation of a snail that came across the screen, and a rocket pops up, and he shoots off. And I sent that to him with my resume. And that's how I got to know the creator of Club Penguin eventually, 5 years before Club Penguin came out.
Wow.
And so I started out as an animator. That was what I assumed my job was going to be. The video game development side of things and the composing, music composing, which was just something I considered a hobby, like that all kind of came afterwards. All of my schooling was in for animation.
Wow. So since the beginning, because you told me that after high school you had this like perspective of your life of being in animation and all this. So it has
Yeah.
been since you were very young, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. My grandfather introduced me to like Peanuts comics, right? Charles Schultz, Charlie Brown, Snoopy, that kind of thing. We taped this special of seeing behind the scenes of how Peanuts animation was made, and I wore out that VHS. And just like the idea, the process of animation, just kind of fascinated to me because it felt like I could take drawings, but then I could make them alive. I was creating life, and that was like an addicting feeling. So animation always had this like if there was animation on TV, I was like suddenly squirrel, right? Like very very hooked to that. Yeah.
Wow. And you mentioned that when you got interested in all this, Pixar was just starting by
Yeah.
that time. Did you have any issue with your parents supporting you to maybe study this? That it was not maybe something that it was assured to give you a good job or a good outcome because maybe it was not that mainstream as it
Yeah.
is today, because I don't know if that happens in every
Oh,
country, but here if you study something like that, your parents will probably tell you, well, maybe you should focus on other things too.
um, taking an art job of any kind, even now, has inherent risk to it. Like,
Yeah.
even now, I'm gonna say, if you are kind of just an average artist who is like, oh, I'll do this because it's easy, take a different job. That's it is not easy to make a living doing this. It is not at all easy. I think my parents and family sort of assumes that like, well, this is interesting to him, and if it only ends up being a hobby kind of thing, like he has other outlets. He's smart enough. I'm sure he'll find a job somewhere. And I don't think I don't think anyone was necessarily expecting that it would stick. And really, it was kind of unknown whether or not it would stick. But I was in the right place at the right time when schooling finished, because I took another animation course from 2003 to early 2005. And right at the end of that was when Lance contacted me again and said, hey, I've been sending you contract jobs. I have a little bit bigger of a job if you're interested. And that's when I started in at New Horizon Interactive. So had the timing been different and after animation school I didn't find anything for another 2 years or something, I probably would have gone in a completely different direction with my life. It's just it's about skill and talent, but it's also about knowing the right people and contacting the right people so that others are aware that you have these skills that are desirable.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned that, what do you think will have been the other path you will have followed if this was not?
Oh, uh, I'm not sure. Like wherever I went, I would feel somewhat stagnant if there wasn't some aspect of creativity in it. So even if I had gotten hired at like I don't know, as an accountant or something like that, I probably would still have been the guy who's like, oh, we need to do some kind of promotional thing for our accountant webpage. I'll take that on, right? That kind of thing. Um, I don't really know. It could have got like I I've gotten into video editing and stuff recently, so it might have been something kind of close to that, where because video editing is still has an art to it. But I was also
Yeah.
like, I was born without a sense of smell, so it could have been something completely different. Of like, hey, there's a sewage treatment plant and no one wants to work there. Well, I could probably handle that. Shovel and poop. You're right. Like it could have been anything.
You know, I saw your video talking about that you don't have the sense of
Yes, sense of
smell.
smell.
How
Yeah.
is it called? I don't
It's
remember
called
how is it called.
that's fine. Anosmia, and frankly, no one knows what that's called. Everyone knows the words blind and deaf, but the other senses, like, that is not a common word. So, yeah.
And what is it like to live without being able to smell?
For the most part, it seems like everything is pretty normal. Like it's a disability, but it's a very invisible disability. No one like unless I point it out to people, no one really knows about it, right? It's just a matter of needing to pay attention to things that normally have an odor cue, a smell cue to it. So, like when I am cooking, and I do a decent amount of cooking, I just have to be very, very careful of did I leave a burner on? Is there food on the stove? Have I stirred it in the last 10 minutes? Oh no, because I'm not going to smell the smoke. I'm not going to smell anything burnt, right? So just making sure of that. Did I put too much of a certain spice in? Oops, because I don't know necessarily like spices by smell or anything, right? Like it's
Yeah.
those kinds of things.
Have
Gas
you
appliances.
confused? Have you confused like any spice with I don't know, or salt with sugar or things like that because of that?
Um, Not because of that. I do remember one time when I was making waffles and I messed up the recipe of like how much salt I was supposed to put in, and the waffles were almost inedible. There you could not. They were horrible. But generally, no. There's just a lot. Every spice is labeled. I'm not going by like, oh, hey, I have these leaves that I can put it. No, it's everything is labeled. I know what everything is. Yeah.
That way you avoid those kind of confusion.
Yes, yes. Some people like they have a garden at home of like, oh, here's where I'm growing all my spices, and I just know the leaf. Like, no, that would not work for me. I can taste them. I could like take a mint leaf and eat it in my mouth, and oh, that's mint, right? My tongue still works, but yeah.
And do you think that has helped you in some way, or it has maybe just kind of refrained you from smelling? You know?
Lack of smell has disadvantages and advantages. When people talk about like a smell reminding them of their childhood or something like that, obviously, I don't have that. Um, or walking through a field of flowers or something like that, or fresh bread. But there have been some advantages for sure. I've actually had at least two times in my life where I've ended up being paired with coworkers. Like I did overnight newspaper flyer inserting. You take a newspaper, you put all the flyers into it. I did that. That was part of my job for a while, night shift. And I would end up working with this one guy a lot, who I learned later had horrible body odor that he never did anything about. And so no one else wanted to work with him. It's like, oh, well, okay, I can be friendly to this guy because I don't have that issue. And so we I mean, he was a little bit of a jerk, but we got on great. So, yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah.
And that's how you discovered that you didn't have the sense of smelling.
No, no, I discovered that when I was about 10.
Oh,
As a kid, I figured it out. It wasn't an immediate thing. Which is kind of a. I found like an entire Facebook group of people who were born without a sense of smell, and it's like turns out we all have very similar experiences. But yeah, I finally figured out around 10 years old. Wait a second. I don't think my kindergarten scratch and sniff stickers were broken after all. That it was this.
and how
Yeah.
did you figure it out?
Oh, you want me to tell? So I was at my cousin's house, and I was already starting to suspect something, but like I needed proof, and so I tell my cousin, and we're like kids, right? He's 8, and I'm 10, and he has a friend over. And I say, you know what? I don't think I have a sense of smell. I don't think my nose works as all, except for like holding up my glasses. And so my cousin goes, really? Are you sure? That's weird. And his friend, whose name is Barton, he says, I've been kind of holding in a fart for a while. And we're kids. Like, of course we're going to test this. And so I get up right close, and he just lets it rip, and I hear it, but no reaction from my nose. My cousin runs out of the room because it is so bad in there, and it's like, okay, all right, I've confirmed this. It took a number of years after that to convince my parents about it, though, because they're like, by the time your kid is 10, is like, oh, I know everything about my kid. I know him. You don't have a sense of what? How could I not know that for a decade, right? And so it was actually really hard to convince them, but yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah,
really
yeah.
interesting way to find out.
And I mean, I confirmed it many times after the fact, so it's like, yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I've never had it like officially checked out from an ear, nose, and throat doctor or anything, but
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's on my list of to dos someday, but
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like getting it checked out is particularly urgent. If I had lost my sense of smell, maybe there's something they could do to bring it back. But chances are, I just don't have I guess the olfactory, I think they call it, nerve that would, whatever sensor that would have it. I just probably don't have it. So, not much you can
Yeah,
do
so
about it.
it won't make any change, and you're
Yeah,
already having a normal life without that,
yeah.
right?
It'd be like being born without eyes. It's like, well, I guess maybe you could put in a robotic eye, but near as I can tell, no one's making robotic noses. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about your career as well, and I look a little bit into your LinkedIn profile,
Sure.
and I saw that you have a really extensive professional experience, and you have worked in a lot of places, in a lot of different places, both as a game developer and as a music composer, because you have done both of those areas in video games.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
did you get your first job as either of these ones as a game developer?
So the first work of any kind relating to this would have been the contract work that I did for Lance from 2000 to 2005. My first real game industry job was Club Penguin. That was my introduction to the game industry in 2005. I was 22 at the time, and I was asked on board. Lance already knew me as a game developer. He was a Flash developer. They knew that they would need somebody to work on this Penguin experience that had experience in Flash, but also a few other areas, and I happened to tick all of those boxes because I had some 3D knowledge, I had some 2D knowledge, I had animation skill. And so I was asked on board, like, okay, can you help make this work? We're going to turn this into something. But yeah, Club Penguin was by far my biggest job from 2005 until I left Disney Online Studios in 2010. And then from then on, there were a few other studios. Lance started a new studio, and I kind of followed him there. That was Rocket Snail Games that turned into Hyper Hippo Productions. And then once I was let go from there in 2017, it was just a whole lot of contract work for other studios, primarily either ex-Club Penguin employees who started making their own studios, or, what has been really fun, ex-Club Penguin fans who are now in their 20s and have said, oh, I can just hire the guy that made the music of my childhood to make music for what I'm doing. It's like, yes, you can, sure. And so that's been interesting and an unexpected source of work.
So have a lot of projects have come from people that used to play the Club Penguin, for example, and they have found you specifically your services because of that?
Yeah. I'd say by now
Wow.
about a dozen people, like about 10 to 12 fans, not including like commissioned artwork, because sometimes people just say, hey, could you draw me a penguin and sign it and send it to me or
Wow.
something? Yeah, sure. That kind of thing. But yeah, that's come up. I have one project that I can't really talk about, but it's a more extensive musical thing for one client that was an ex-Club Penguin fan, and it's going to be a good 15 to 18 minutes of music for it. So well, that's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
And to start talking about Club Penguin, I wanted to give a little bit of background to people that may have not played this video game, which,
sure.
as I repeat again, maybe your childhood was not very happy if you didn't have this experience, because I mean, Club Penguin was a different experience. And I think as of today, I haven't seen anything similar to that. And maybe one thing that we will talk more later,
Sure.
but Club Penguin was a massively multiplayer online game, and it was launched in 2005, if I'm not wrong,
That's
until
right.
it shut down in 2017
Yep.
when they tried to do the mobile transition, but it
Yeah.
didn't go well. And
Unfortunately, yeah.
yeah, that's true. And Club Penguin was bought by the Walt Disney Company in 2007. And in July 2013, Club Penguin gathered 200 million registered user accounts. So it's a massive game, so that people can know.
Yeah, it was very simply just you went onto this website, you walked around as a penguin. There were a whole bunch of other people there as penguins. Sometimes you'd play mini games by yourself, sometimes you'd play with others. You had your own home, it was an igloo, and you could invite other people to that. And it was just a socialization space that was intended to be safe but fun, for primarily an age group of starting around age 6 to 12 and up. Obviously, there were people who played into their teens and into their 20s and things, but we were aiming for a younger group and kind of treated the safety of the game as though it was for that age.
I think I played it until I was like 15 years old or something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So I was in the range. After that, I feel that Club Penguin started to decline in a lot of aspects. Well, maybe it was my perception, because when you start growing up, maybe your interests change, and I didn't see Club Penguin as I did like years before that. And yeah, it was a great game overall, and I loved all the mini games that it had. Which one was your favorite?
Oh, so if I was like, I made some of the mini games there, so it's difficult for me to say those ones because once you've made it, you know it so well inside and out that you don't really go back to play it, right? So like, I really enjoyed making Astro Barrier, but that was like, I enjoyed it on a different level from like just coming up with the puzzles for it. I'd say my favorite single player game on it was actually probably Rollerscape or Pufflescape, I guess it was called. It was the one where you were a little puffle
Yeah.
in a ball and you were rolling around and you kind of it was this physics based sort of platform thing where you had these physics puzzles of how do you get your thing from place to place, or Puffle Cannon. That one was good too. I enjoyed the simplicity of sled racing. I liked Rockhopper's the little treasure hunt game. It's just like a quick little collaborative game. That was a fun one. Jetpack Adventure was great for exploring. I wish we had kind of gone further with that. There were lots.
And which of those mini games that were on Club Penguin were developed by you?
So I was the main person behind, at least at launch. A lot of them were recoded after it, and other proper game programmers had to deal with my horrible coding. But I made Astro Barrier, I made the original bean counters, I made the original ice fishing. I came up with the original prototype for Rockhopper's treasure hunt, but that ended up being coded properly later before it was actually launched. And then I helped out in one way or another. Kart Surfer was my idea, and then there was a bunch of other ones that I helped out in the development one way or the other in the early days of the game.
And what was the period of time in which you worked for Club Penguin?
I was exclusively on Club Penguin stuff until around May of 2009. And then I was still involved for the last year and a half that I was at Disney Online Studios. I was still making music, composing music for Penguin. I was still involved in a few creative things there. And there was just certain meetings and things that I was still a part of so that I could kind of still help guide things along.
And you also were the music composer for a lot of the songs, I guess, of Club Penguin. But which ones were the projects you worked as a music composer for Club Penguin?
I would not be able to list all of them. I worked on I ended up composing around 60 songs for the game, which people kind of forget how big of a soundtrack Club Penguin had. It had well over 250 songs. Just because of all of the different parties and events and things that happened for the game. So 60 sounds like a lot, and it felt like a lot, but it was only about a quarter of the actual output, if that. But there was a lot of the parties in 2008 and stage plays, the Brown Puffle. There was the Jungle Party, the Medieval Party. This would almost be better answered by my series of YouTube videos, because I have 18 now YouTube videos where I go behind the scenes of the making of Club Penguin music. And it's everything from Cardjitsu is the most recent one, but the first one that I made was the Thin Ice arcade game. All sorts of... it was a variety.
Yeah, I saw the one that you mentioned, the last one that you uploaded about the Cardjitsu, and actually that was my favorite soundtrack. Whenever I got into the dojo, listening to that music, it was like, wow, I feel in Japan right now.
Honestly, in hindsight, I wish that I had made the dojo music a little bit more authentically Japanese. I feel like the song went a little bit too fast for what would actually be played by a human. But yeah, it was certainly a fun one to compose.
Yeah, and what did you like more, like game designing or music composing? What would you say?
I'm enough of a creative scatterbrain that my preferred way of doing things is if I can be involved with more than one thing at once. If I had to pick one, I would probably pick the music composing, because I feel like that's the one that I have ended up being the most talented at. But if I was a music composer only and never got to do anything else, I would also feel like that would be a step down from being able to actually contribute in other ways to developing games and just to my work. So the answer is music composing, but the real answer is I like doing it all.
And how did that happen in your life? Did you go to a school for music or something like that?
For music composing, no. I did do, since I was 5 years old, I had piano lessons. So I had piano lessons as a kid. But the composing side of that, that was just also from a very young age, just wanting to make up things and then getting a keyboard that had a bunch of different sounds on it and my dad hooking it up so that I could actually like record things that I made to a cassette tape so that I would be able to save it for later, and just developing all sorts of songs that were like very primitive and horrible in hindsight, but it was just the training ground for being able to make better things along the way.
Well, and
Yeah.
can you play another instrument besides piano?
Yes, I have a collection of musical instruments. I played alto saxophone in high school, but I don't have that one anymore. What I do have is a flute and a clarinet that I can play somewhat decently. But I also have I have a 10-stringed lyre. It's sometimes known as a King David harp because it's the one that you kind of play from both sides there. For my birthday this year, I was given a zither, which is a stringed instrument that you play on your lap and you kind of pluck from the top, which is it's amazing. I love it. I have a drum that's a lot like a steel pan drum, but it's actually called a tongue drum, and I own a didgeridoo. uh, it's there's a bunch of I have a couple of recorders. Yeah, it's I about I have a French horn, just like about 20 instruments that I just like want to. I know all of them in some level of detail, but yeah, my family now knows to find me unusual instruments, and I'm a happy composer.
Wow, so you have a place in your house, I guess, with all the
Yes,
instruments in one
yes,
place.
yes. Well,
It's a
okay.
full room, I guess.
Just a second. Can I show you my most unusual one?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to see the instruments that Chris has, guys. Oh my god.
So this, which if you're listening to the podcast, I'll describe it. If you imagine a conch shell at the end of a thick bamboo tube, and then at the end, this is a tenor saxophone reed hooked by an elastic band to a mouthpiece. So it makes a sound that's sort of like a saxophone, but also kind of has a much more woody, earthy sound to it, a very hollow kind of sound. We've just joked in the family we called it a conchaphone. I think it has a specific other name to it, but it's this was like a handmade musical instrument that was being sold at a craft fair. Like this, where would I ever find something like this kind of thing? So this
So
was
it's
also
maybe unique in the world.
well, they made more than one, but it is a very unique instrument. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't find it anywhere. Maybe
No.
I haven't seen anything like that ever in my life.
No, you have to wet it to be able to play it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to, because once you show an instrument, everyone's wondering how it sounds. So I'm going to
Yeah.
see if I can get this to work. It's a very difficult instrument to get
Yeah, I can
good
see
sand
that.
out of. You have to really basically swallow the mouthpiece. But
Oh wow.
whoop. Anyway, yeah, it's very interesting sound to it, and very interesting sound, and I want to see whether or not I can actually
Yeah.
get to learn it properly. But just things like that, musical instruments fascinate me.
But that's like a handmade instrument, but it's shaped like a saxophone, as
Yes.
you mentioned, right? So you have to previously know how to play a saxophone in order to
Yeah.
play this one.
Fortunately, most wind instruments work in a similar way where it's just sort of you're lifting up fingers one at a time, right hand first and then left hand. And like at a basic level, if you know how to play a recorder, you have the basic fingering for a lot of different wind instruments. But yeah,
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 well,
it's.
that's interesting. Thank you for showing us
You're
the
welcome.
uh,
Yeah.
conchaphone.
Yes. Yeah, I wish I remembered the proper name for it, but yeah.
Wow,
Yeah, like
that's
good luck
really
finding
interesting.
fingering charts online for that one. Yeah.
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 And speaking again about your work at Club Penguin, do you personally think that the purchase of Club Penguin by Disney was for good or for bad?
What I can say to that, because I have been asked that one by people before. I left in 2010, and when I left, looking back at the Disney purchase overall, it was a net positive. There were a lot of things that happened behind the scenes where it was like, oh, this is now so much easier, and there's these things that we can do that are really good that we would not have been able to do before. I can't really speak to the years following that. There are certain decisions in the game that I don't think I would have made, where in the last few years of its existence, Club Penguin kind of stopped looking like it had its own identity and just sort of was a vehicle for advertising other Disney products. And that, I think, was a pretty big negative. But overall, like at least the initial Disney purchase and what happened in the few years following that was a positive, and also more importantly, any decisions that were made from like 2007 to at least 2009 were things that we would have made anyway. Like there wasn't like suddenly, hey, we're here and we're Disney and we're going to tell you how to make this. There wasn't a lot of meddling in that sense of things. Disney had a whole bunch of other virtual worlds going at the time, and they wanted to like part of why they purchased Club Penguin was because they wanted our advice of like what would we do with these other virtual worlds and things. So if anything, we were meddling a little bit too much in other virtual worlds that were existing at the time.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm hoping that the changes were for good. But yeah.
And when you mention about the events, for some context, in Club Penguin, there were like these events that lasted for about 2 weeks to a month, I remember,
Yeah.
and they were teamed. And in these events, I started noticing that Disney started to put their own products, like to advertise a new movie. I remember a Frozen event, for
For sure.
example, and things like that. So that for you is a negative thing that Disney did?
Putting in Frozen or Star Wars, or Marvel or things like that, I don't think that is a negative necessarily. The negative is more in the sense of the flow of the game, where you have to have a baseline of this is what Club Penguin is to make those things feel special. And it seemed to get to a point, just as a casual observer looking from outside, where it was like, oh, it's all about this now. The whoever is making the creative decisions is assuming that Club Penguin is special because Frozen is in it, not Club Penguin is special and also Frozen has shown up, right? If you think of Club Penguin like a theme park, imagine if Disneyland did that and said, okay, from now on, the entire park is going to be Star Wars for a month and then Frozen for a month. And then, like, everyone would go, well, wait a second. What about Disneyland? Isn't this world special as it is? Right. And that's the distinction I would make.
Yeah. And what do you think of the Club Penguin transition to mobile? Because it certainly didn't work. It just lasted for about 1 year, and I think Club Penguin on the web platform was working even better than
Yeah.
the mobile version went. So, what do you think went wrong there?
It's a tough one for me to comment on, just because other than contributing about 8 songs to it, to the new version, I was not really involved at all in the making of it. But it was made by a lot of like Club Penguin coworkers and people that I consider very good friends and things like that, who were trying to do the best they could, and also just the fact that like even from the beginning, we dreamed of what would Club Penguin be like in 3D. Like that would be something so cool, and that was one of the reasons that we did the secret agent missions, looking from a different point of view, because it felt like you were in the world. So that idea, at its core, was very Club Penguin. It did look to me as though there were a few things very early on that made a very bad first impression, that if anyone was hanging on to Club Penguin, like just out of, well, I'm loyal to this game and this is my community, they got there and they went, okay, this isn't for me anymore. They were pushing. The most important part of Club Penguin was its audience. You needed to have that audience buy-in. And there were certain creative decisions, well, not even creative decisions, just certain decisions that were made at the beginning that kind of reminded you, hey, the most important thing in this world is that you pay us. Like, that's not going to be a positive experience. You're gonna lose people. And the fact that in order for this new game to exist, apparently the old game had to be shut down. Like that's already starting people with a bad taste in their mouth. And the fact that the game couldn't actually be played on the platform that the original game could be played, and yet the original game had to be shut down. Like there was just a whole lot that may have made sense internally from somebody's point of view producing the game, but from a user's experience, like it did not, and that was very unfortunate. And frankly, like from what I understand, a lot of people within the Club Penguin team knew it and were like, was like, this is happening and we can't do anything about it, but this is what it is. So yeah, it ended up like I was seeing the trailers of some of the stuff that they were doing in the final few months of the existence of the game. Is like, okay, this is cool. Like this is actually it. I might start looking into this again. This is really neat. Oh, it's gone. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Like it was just starting to hit its stride when it got pulled. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad because a game with a lot of history, almost like what, 15 years or so,
Yeah.
that lasted, and that's something that I didn't understand, why both games, like the platform version in web version and the mobile version, didn't coexist.
Yeah. I've heard rumors of reasons for this, but I'm fairly certain whatever NDAs I have signed, I would not be able to share them, and I don't know how accurate the information would be. So there were reasons. Finding out those reasons would not be particularly would not give a lot of closure. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there were reasons. Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
after it shut down in
yeah.
2017, fans didn't stop, and they did fan servers of the video
Yeah.
game. I don't know if you have seen that, and what
Oh,
do you
I
think
am.
about fans doing that?
It's it. So at its best, it is preservation of history, right? It's
Yeah.
going back and saying, hey, I want to watch this show on DVD. I want to rewatch this thing that no one's airing anymore, and it's not on streaming anymore, but I can still watch it because I have it, which you can't do with video games. And so people are trying to do the next best thing and say, I still want this community around. And at its best,
Yeah.
it's that. At its worst, unfortunately, it is a place that it is a playground where that can be very abused.
Yeah.
Which, there's been news articles about and stuff like that, and that has been very unfortunate that people have said, hey, we're taking this fun virtual world and we're going to do some horrible things behind the scenes of it. Club Penguin had a lot of employees because we needed that many just for customer service purposes. Like, there was a lot of people who were doing a lot of work to make things safe, and even the best intentioned fan server of Club Penguin cannot put that much effort into it and dedication, so, or money into it, definitely not legally. So, like, on one hand, I am admiring and loving what they're doing in the terms of keeping the memory alive and wanting to keep that friendliness going, but
Yeah.
from a safety point of view, I can't endorse it. You know, yeah, as much as
Yeah,
I would
because
love to.
one of the main purposes of Club Penguin since in its inception was to have safety mostly for children, because children were the user base of this video game.
Yeah,
And the basic purpose of Club Penguin was to make it safe for kids and for parents to trust this video game.
yep.
And don't you think that nowadays people that still Whale Song Club Penguin is like adults? Because it's the people that played it when we were childs.
Adults, or depending on when you played, it may also be adults showing it to their kids, because we're getting
Yeah.
to the point where that is a very distinct possibility. If you were 12 in 2005, you would be 31 now, right? So, like, there may be some of that happening too. But yes, it's probably a lot of people, late teens, 20s, just kind of keeping things alive that way. And as long as they're trying to keep to the spirit of the original game, that's great.
Yeah. And do you think, I don't know if you are able to answer this, or if maybe I will get into something surprise that you cannot
Yeah.
say yet, but do you think Club Penguin will legally come back one day, like with its name and everything, like
Yeah.
maybe evolved, but the same like main core of the game?
I would love it if it did. And I think it would be a positive thing in the world if it did. Even now, even as habits of playing in mobile spaces has changed, I still think it would be an awesome thing to have. I don't think it naturally works as well on phones as it does on the larger screen of a laptop or desktop computer. So there is that. And there isn't anything out there as good as Flash was for the internet. They keep saying that, there's all these, HTML5 and Web3 or whatever that will help, make these kinds of interactive experiences. Interactive experiences on the internet are not as good as they were 15 years ago. And that is such a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
But it's just, you don't have that openness that Flash provided. And that annoys me, because I don't know, like, Flash was how I got into developing things, and I don't know how I would develop a web experience now. People are trying to replicate a Club Penguin-like experience in things like Roblox, Minecraft. Even to some extent, I think some of the people who are more army focused have been trying to make, like, Fortnite their new Club Penguin and stuff, which isn't really that, but
It isn't that family
yeah.
friendly as well.
Not really, no. Yeah, but it still has its own identity to it that it would be nice if it existed somewhere else. And there are some other virtual worlds that are still, like, trying to make things, keep things running. I think Habbo Hotel might still be running to this day, which is like one of the granddaddies in the virtual world space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and linked to this, and you probably know about this because it's your own friends from Club Penguin.
Hmm.
But have you heard about Party Pirate World?
Yes, I have provided some of the music for it.
Great.
So yes, there's that, which they're doing a great job in trying to keep the spirit of Club Penguin alive in a different IP, and that's
Yeah.
great. And I would definitely recommend checking them out. I know for a while, Box Critters, also made by some other ex Club Penguin people, were trying something, and I think that's kind of offline at the moment, but I think that'll be coming back at some point. And then, yeah, there are other fans that are making their own virtual world experiences that are inspired by it, and it's it's a tough thing because the thing that makes a virtual world or any social media work is the audience, and so it's a question of like, come here and talk instead of Discord, right? That can be a difficult thing to transition people to.
Yeah.
Um,
Do
but
you
yeah,
think that Party Pirate World is like a good, let's say, successor or another similar experience to Club Penguin?
that's certainly what they're aiming for, and I think that it's possible for them to achieve it. They just have to get the buy-in and figure out, okay, what is the hook that people need now? Because in 2005, it was still a relatively rare thing to be able to have an avatar-based chat system of some kind. It's a little bit more available now, even if it doesn't look like Club Penguin did. So it's now like, okay, what do we have to offer that is worth it, right? Like, it's the same question of like, how do you overtake Facebook, right? You can build a server structure that mimics what Facebook does and might even have like a better or more streamlined feature, but if nobody uses it, it's not going to be the Facebook killer because everyone's goes, well, I could use you and you look nicer, but all of the people that I want to talk to are already here. So it's not just moving you, it's moving you and your community.
And
And that's tough.
do you plan to upload videos like you do for from Club Penguin and your other projects?
Hmm.
This that you mentioned that you work on some of the music for Party Part World. Do you plan
Yeah.
to upload videos about that on your channel?
I have no current plans for that, but frankly, based on what I know of the people making Party Parrot, I wouldn't be surprised if they would be wanting to make some videos for behind the scenes stuff where they
Yeah.
interview me about like this song or that song or whatever, depending on if they get to that point. So I would leave that one up to them, because I don't necessarily have the same kind of stories to tell about the making
Yeah.
of these kinds of things. With Club Penguin, I was making these songs and I was also involved in the creative process often for why these songs were made. I don't have that connection as much with Parrot.
And regarding now that I have mentioned your YouTube channel, you have done a great job with this because it's crazy how you have a great audience out of all these games that you have worked on and all the inspiration and all the things that you have done. And I think it's a great way in how you market everything. And I noticed that you market yourself and your project as Screenhawk Studios. And
Yes.
can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure, Screenhog as a name was not invented for Club Penguin. Screenhog was my online name from about 2001 onward. And so uh, when I was Screenhog on Club Penguin, that's just because that was already what had become my main online identity. And so Screenhog Studios has just been like in British Columbia, in the province that I'm in. That is my registered business name as a sole proprietor for doing contract work and things like that. So that is just my business, and it makes the most sense to put that on there because as much as I'm doing Club Penguin things and that gets all the views, there are other non-Club Penguin things that I want to do with the channel as well. There was a mobile game called Adventure Capitalist that I did the music for. I may end up doing a video about that if that works out someday. Or there's other projects that I'm working on for other studios that I would love to just kind of put some stuff on, or original content. I have short films that I want to make. So it's trying to be a thing that will remind some people who are really in the know of Club Penguin, but it's really trying to exist at least slightly outside of Club Penguin's shadow, even though I will always be known as the Club Penguin guy.
And well, I mean, it's not bad because it talks about the quality of the work you did when you went as a game developer and game music composer for Club Penguin, and you have done a lot of other jobs. And if people can see your website, they can even reach you out if they want to do like projects. Like you mentioned that a lot of previous or former fans of Club Penguin have reached out to you and work on some projects for them, right?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And what is the website URL?
Just www.screenhog.com. It has not been particularly updated. I have been very relaxed on making sure that new things that I make are put on there. But yes, that's where people can contact me. That's the easiest and most consistent place for people to contact me.
And how did you decide that you were going to open a YouTube channel? Like, how did you plan it?
The YouTube channel started in 2018, and part of the reason was because I was let go from my job in 2017, and I was looking for contract work. But the thing about contract work is that you have highs and lows. And I frankly had a month where I don't know what I'm going to be doing for work here. And I keep having people ask me on Twitter about Club Penguin stuff. And like, you know what? Maybe there's enough people that care. So I stick up a YouTube video and it gets a few hundred hits in the first day. And like, okay, like this, there was not a lot of effort put into that first video. All right, let's talk about this stuff. And so for that first year, I did a lot of music behind the scenes videos just to get the channel up and running. And somewhere along the way, probably video 8, 9, 10-ish, there was a relatively large YouTuber that caught wind of it and told all the followers about it. And so there was this sudden just spike, like,
wow.
Hi. And, it's so that was, I was starting to get the exposure to a brand new audience of people. And if you are some of the people who are watching this, hello, or if you're listening, hello.
And did you expect to have this amount of views and fans?
No. It was one of those things like, if this becomes a very passive source of a few bucks a month, sure, cool. I wasn't expecting certain videos to resonate as well as they have. I certainly did not expect the Club Penguin Avatar video that now has over 700,000 views or so. I did not expect that to hit that. I was like, oh, please give me like 100,000 views. I put a lot of work into this. Like, oh, yay. So,
that's the most viewed YouTube video, right?
Yes.
On your channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one that appeared on my brother's feed,
Yeah. Well, it hit a lot of people who had just sort of like recognized the Penguin in passing, even if they didn't play Club Penguin. Yeah. Like, there were enough memes that went around about Club Penguin. I'm like, sure, fine, I can learn about this guy. Oh, hey, this guy's neat. Also, is he losing his hair? I think I probably am, but it's real slow. But yeah, I always had a high hairline. It's just getting a little bit higher. So Yeah.
And I'm passionate about marketing and social media, and how
Nice.
now everyone has the chance to make their own projects, like I'm doing with this, and
Hmm.
have a voice and show their experiences, share their projects with the world. And I would like to know, what strategies did you start doing when you had your YouTube channel? Like, did you did it matter a lot for you to make good thumbnails, good YouTube titles, things like that?
I put a little bit of effort into that. I don't do like this Card-Jitsu video was the first time I even tried like the A/B testing with putting up three different thumbnails and seeing which one would get picked. Which the one that ended up getting picked is like, really, that one? But apparently, um, there was a little bit of effort put into. So I had one video that was 10 things you didn't know about Club Penguin, right? Because of just seeing, hey, these numbered list videos seem to have some popularity to them. I would kind of like something that was just be an evergreen kind of, people always watch this no matter what, because the music thing seems to be more of a niche.
Yeah.
And yes, that has turned out to be one of the more popular videos. Anytime you have a number of things at the beginning of the title on a YouTube video, it's going to get more clicks because of how human psychology works of, oh, 5 things? I need to know what
Yeah.
all 5 are, right? Just that's that, and so I'll probably eventually do what I've been asked about, the sequel to the video where it's like 10 things I did want on Club Penguin, in a response to the 5 things I didn't want on it. I have thoughts about that, but I'm also not necessarily chasing the algorithm. My presentation style is slower than the average YouTuber that is hyper excited all the time. I don't, I cannot be. It's game theory, right? That's
Yeah.
not gonna be me. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be a bit slower paced about it, and if you don't like that, you did deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what kind of, if you can tell us, right? What type of projects are you currently working on, or what comes next for you, like personally, on your YouTube channel and everywhere?
On the YouTube channel, I have a few videos in mind. I want to tell the story of how the second video game I ever played, like in my life, because I've occasionally been asked about the first video game I ever played, but the second video game is a much more interesting story, so I'm going to tell that story. And I have a few other ones in mind. I kind of want to just do a story time where I tell a twist on the story of the boy that cried wolf, but it's called The Town That Cried Wolf, and it's just a random little thing that I'm going to do. But on the work side of things, I have been heavily involved in a group of developers. There's 4 of us. 3 of us are Club Penguin, and 1 of us is not. But we're called Rule of Cool Studios, and we have been working on a mobile title that hopefully will be launching soon. We are ever waiting for certain things to align in our favor as far as how the game works exactly. We're like 95% of the way there. But I've been working with them, and they're a great group of guys. Well, three men, 1 woman. But yeah, it's just it's a fun small core group, and hopefully we will launch something that resonates with people soon.
It's soon, like soon this year or
I hope
next
it's
year?
this year. I hope it's this year. But yeah, yeah.
And is it possible? If it's not possible, I understand. But
Mhm.
is it possible if you mention maybe something about this title? What is it about?
The game is so for a while there was a popular game online called 2048 where you were just sliding numbers around, and whenever 2 numbers that were next to each other were the same, they would merge together, and you were just trying to make this 2048 tile. We've taken a twist on that and turned that into a puzzle game. And
Oh,
so, and then in addition to that, there are like characters that were really fun to write for and animate for and do these fun things with, and it's just we have this kind of fleshed out exploration experience with this little mechanic of just trying to solve some unique puzzles in a design of puzzle that we hadn't really seen done before, but seemed easy enough to learn and understand. So yeah.
oh, well, we hope to see that game this year, hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah, yep.
And I guess you're going to announce it on your social media if that happens, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
follow him and see if everything goes well, and hope we can get that video game this year. And now we're getting to the final part of the interview and our conversation, which is basically some short phrase or one-word answers to different questions that I will make. And I modified the first one because it's like kind of the same to every guest to get to know them a little bit better on those aspects as well.
Okay.
And the first question for most of the guests is favorite color.
Okay.
But I thought about asking you this, and is favorite puffle color.
Okay. So favorite color would be orange.
Okay.
Was yellow as a kid, but I went to more of the warmer spectrum there. And then favorite puffle color, I always kind of had, of the originals, it was green. And then when orange showed up and was just a goofball, orange for a little while there, but then brown. I loved the inventive nature of Brown, and the theme song for it was one of my favorite songs I've ever composed. And so, yeah, I'll go with green and brown for Puffles.
You know, my puffle was the blue one.
Yep.
And I don't know if, because I was never a member, sadly, in
Yes,
Club Penguin,
yeah.
I was never able to do that. But I guess without the membership, you were only able to have two puffles, I think.
Yeah,
and
it was blue and red.
one of those was blue and red, yes.
Yeah.
So those were my puffles on Club Penguin.
It's a familiar story, and that is just fine, because that's why we did that. Like, there was the free players mattered so much more than some people gave credit for on Club Penguin. Like, it's if all of the free players on Club Penguin were suddenly gone, it would have been much more of a ghost town, and suddenly the members would have gone, oh, this place isn't as fun as it was. And there was so much, like, some people paid with money, but a lot of people paid in Club Penguin with their time and with their passion for the game and the word of mouth of it. And that was, like, I loved players like you.
My whole life I was a non-member. I had a friend that was a member, and he was like with his 10 puffles all around him.
Yes, it's just jealousy of so many puffles. Yeah.
And the clothing that the game had for the members as well. He was like with with extravagant clothing.
So
all
many
the time.
clothes. So many clothes. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question: what is the first thing that you do when you wake up in the mornings?
Does hitting the snooze alarm count?
Yeah, I mean,
Hit the button and go back to sleep for 9 more minutes. Repeat a couple times. Yeah.
yeah. What is your usual like wake up time?
Between 5:30 and 6:15 probably.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You're an early bird.
Yeah, kind of have to be to make sure that everything is getting ready in time. Yeah.
Yeah. What is your favorite season of the year?
Spring.
Spring.
I love that the days get longer and the air still feels. It's the freshness of winter, but the pleasantness of walking around without being too crazy hot outside. So yeah, spring.
Great. How would you describe your personality?
Introverted, creative, Yeah, I don't know, cautious, loyal. I like making people laugh, but I definitely like my private time a lot as well.
Yeah.
If I have a few days with no alone time, I kind of go mad. So yeah.
And as a music composer, do you have a favorite music genre?
Uh, I like music without lyrics more than music with lyrics, just in general. Um, Orchestral music, whether it be like movie soundtracks, video game soundtracks, and stuff, that's kind of my comfort food. But every once in a while, I'll just, you know, get stuck on like electro swing or jazz or just like finding out about music styles of an ethnicity that I've never heard of before, and I'll just like try and like, oh, I need to learn more about this. Yeah, orchestral music without lyrics would be my top pick, but it can come from a variety of sources, and it's never just one.
And what is the last TV show or movie you have seen?
Let's see. I just watched a few more episodes of Futurama last night, and the night before I watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So, yeah, TV and movie, that would be it. Or can I say
And
I'm a fan of
your
Zoidberg?
and your all-time favorite of either a TV show or movie, what would you say?
Changes frequently, but I cannot drop my love of animation. So, How to Train Your Dragon was such a good movie. Kung Fu Panda 2 was the best by far of the four of them, and I loved how things worked in that. Um, yeah, it's all going to be animation, honestly, for as far as movies go, and probably TV show as well. Um, yeah, like there's sometimes it's Gravity Falls, sometimes it's like the simplicity of Veggie Tales or the snarkiness of Animaniacs or something. Like it's
Well, thank you very much for being on my show today, and I appreciate your time and for sharing all these experiences you have had.